Chris Walker, Emergency Preparedness Coordinator for the Hamilton County Health Department, joins me now. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, ma'am.
We had some changes in testing locations over the weekend. Do you want to bring us up to date?
Sure, we did. We have moved our OptumServe testing site, which was at 400 Lafayette Road. That's now been moved over to Ivy Tech off of 17th Street, Noblesville. It's at door number 9, which is on the far west side of the building. It's just above Work 1. The nice thing is there's a little Work 1 sign in the window on the second floor. Helps make it a little easier to find. So, but
Great.
they're in there and they're back to Monday through Friday, 8 to 8.
And we have one other new testing site online that's been online just for a couple of days. How's it going?
Right. Yeah, it's going well. The new site's out at Trinity Free Clinic over off of Oak Ridge Road in Carmel. They've had a little bit of a slow start, which is good, though. That lets them get the bugs out of their system. They're new partners in this. They've been great partners of ours for years, but COVID testing is new to them, so it's been nice that they've had a little bit of a slow start. The other great thing about them is they work evenings. They're open most Monday through Friday until 8 o'clock, 4 o'clock to 8 o'clock. And then they are open Saturday till I believe it's noon in case people can't get in during the week. So
nice.
And oh, go ahead.
No, you please.
I was going to say the state's website's got a little glitch in it that we're working to try and get fixed. But the website, which you can certainly post on social media afterwards, you have to put in the https:// prior to putting in the web address. So it's https://scheduling.coronavirus.in.gov. So best place to go would be after watching this video is to look for the posting on our social media. And we'll put that proper link in there to make it easier for everybody.
Sounds good. The number of unique positivity cases in Hamilton County was up over the weekend. It has up to like 6.1% and had been below 5%. What do we attribute that to?
Sure. So on the 1st, we had 81 new cases that were put into the system. So it's tough to say now in hindsight without seeing when those tests came in or when those tests were reported. But if we look at the testing by day, which is when we reference the COVID dashboard regularly, and here I can bring it up real quick to help explain this out here. So if we look over here, we see 10/1, we can see the 81 cases where positive cases were reported. So what we do then was we come over here and we can see that the testing, that week prior, so those up, there's not a large jump in testing. So we're not quite sure where that comes from. I don't know if we would attribute it to a pure data dump or if we would attribute it to an increase in positivity. It's one of those things where we've got to go back and take a look at here. So even looking at just the individuals doesn't really change anything for us either. So
we're definitely going to need to keep an eye on that one a little bit.
Yes, that's one of those things that we'll be tracking throughout the next few days. The nice thing is that it's a sliding scale. So by the 8th, because they do the 7-day positivity rate. So when we get to the 8th here, they will that day will drop off and get us back down to the more realistic number. We've had some anomalies throughout the entire process, just for various reasons. Part of it is a tracking thing. Part of it is data input. Part of it is we have days when more people get tested, more people come up positive. Sure. It is what it is, but that's why we look at that 7-day positivity rate as opposed to each day in a vacuum.
Talking about numbers, the latest numbers today would suggest that 42% of our new cases here in Hamilton County are still coming from youth and young adults, that 0 to 29 age group. But we're kind of starting to see those numbers maybe level off a bit. I think we've got a graph that might help us show a little bit of movement in the right direction.
So if we look down here, and over here, the more recent data here on the right-hand side, but we can see where on the 23rd of September, the youngest age group, 0 to 19, accounted for 19.8%. They went up 0.2% the following week. And here we are 5 days later, they're back down 0.2%. So hopefully we're starting to see some movement there in that area. Same thing holds true for that 20 to 29 age group. They jumped up, what's that, 0.6% there, then down. They've started slowly trending downward. Now, the one thing to remember is when we see these groups going down, someone else is going to come up. These numbers all add up to 100% down at the bottom. So it's not necessarily alarming that, say the 40 to 49 age group is going to start ticking up. And that right here, we can see that it's actually the 50 to 59 that went up 0.2% in these 5 days, as well as 0.1% for 60 to 69. That's not alarming. That's almost more of a course correction back to that normal bell curve that we would expect to see all along.
Sure. What do we have to do to curb those numbers a little bit more, Chris? In those younger kids, I know that we see that primarily in the older teens, younger 20s, but what do we need to keep in mind to try to help them get those numbers back under control?
Sure. I mean, I think the big thing is that we're working on it. The school districts are working diligently to find those positive cases, to isolate them as quick as possible, as well as that cohort who has had that close contact, and to get them into the quarantine. And so far, most of our school districts have been very successful doing that. So we're hoping over time that we'll continue to see that go down. I think, anecdotally, we've seen pretty good results out of our sports teams as some of our fall sports start wrapping up, that we've had some successful seasons there. We just have to keep going with the social distancing, the mask wearing, and keeping our kids in those tighter social pods, at least for the interim. And the more we do that, the faster we'll see that number drop down.
I know that you wanted to give a word of warning about the flu and cold season, both coming up here.
Yeah, flu season's coming up. I have a cold myself. One of the things we need to do is, number one, it's important to know your body. I know the difference. I have sinus congestion. I've not run a fever. I check my temperature twice a day just to make sure. I did take time off or worked from home last week, a few days, when I was absolutely gross and coughing and everything else. But, that's where it's important for the employers to help their businesses and help their staff out. And if people are sick, encourage them to stay home. I know some places it's very hard to do it, and I understand that. But this is how we're going to nip not only, flu and cold in the bud, but COVID as well. And employees, it's essential for the livelihood of your business as well as yourself, that if you're sick, talk to your boss, stay home, do everything you can to come up with some kind of amicable solution to help protect yourself, protect your community, and protect your business. So, I mean, I think there's been numerous articles over the last week that have said if you're going to go in because you're not feeling well, plan on getting a COVID test or plan on getting a flu test. One thing you can do to help yourself is go out and get your flu shot. I think you said you got yours last week. I got mine this morning. It's not 100% guarantee, but it's better than a 0% guarantee. So, again, good hand washing, good social distancing, good things like that will help keep the flu down as well as the COVID.
Excellent. Chris Walker, Emergency Preparedness Coordinator for the Hamilton County Health Department. We'll talk to you next week.
Thank you, ma'am.